right. You're on the Arms Room with Glenn and just me today. I'm lonely. The company. Mason, how you doing, man?
Good.
That's it. That's all I get is a good. You're
tired.
Unbelievable. You did look tired. You look like a really tired child over there earlier today when I was talking to you. You kept rubbing your eyes and nodding off while I was talking to you. All right. So today we are at our new studio location, Cowtown Studio. Cowtown Ranges provided us a new studio to broadcast from. So we're very grateful to them. Check them out at azcowtown.com. So very excited to be here at a new location, a little more roomy, I think. I like it. So we got a couple things to talk about before we bring our guest on. We've got a really great call-in guest today on the show, Peter Palma from Top Shot, and also Miss Clean Kits, and a couple other things we're going to talk about when we get him on the phone, because he's a pretty funny guy. So first things I want to talk about is we had a guest on the show a couple months ago, I guess now, and it was Matt Shazda. He was retired Lieutenant Colonel, Air Force Special Operations guy, very, very great individual, really good friend. And he has his own podcast now on the Vets on Media Network, and I want you to go check it out. It's a really great podcast. The first episode he and I recorded together, and he's got some other really great episodes that he's already posted up. He's got a Facebook page, which is The Art of Living Dangerously. So check that out. And then he also has his podcast website, which is CRO59. Now that's CRO, stands for Combat Rescue Officer, CRO59.podbean.com. So if you're looking for another great podcast to listen to, go listen to Matt. He has this oddly soothing voice. So it'll be really, really great to listen to it. Plus, he's got tons of great information on there. Make sure you check him out. All right. We've got another event coming up that I want to tell everybody about. It's really, really great event coming up over at Cowtown. And it's going to be done with Independence Training, but in conjunction with Concerned Veterans for America. So Concerned Veterans for America is actually the organization putting it on. They are the ones making the event happening. And Independence Training, our staff is going to be volunteering their time to come out and help out for this event. It's going to be on April 11th at Cowtown Range. So that's a Saturday. It's going to be from 9 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And it is a Veterans Appreciation Day. Now, here's the way it's going to work. It is at no cost to any veteran that wants to come out. All right. But you have to pre-register. Also, we're looking for primarily OIF, OEF veterans. All right. So we kind of want to get some of the younger generation guys out, get them to know the other veterans in their area, or the other veterans at least kind of local to them, so they can start networking with each other. And also we just want to bring them out and show them a good time. So we're going to do a bunch of shooting exercises and kind of fun competitions. There's going to be some great sponsors. There's going to be some giveaways. There's going to be some prizes. We want you to come out and have a good time. If you have your own equipment, bring it out. Use your own equipment. Shake off that rust, shake it out. See how it all goes for you. Show us how awesome you are, whatever. However, if you don't have your own equipment, we're going to provide it to you. All right. So if you don't have your own carbine, you don't have your own ammo, we're going to take care of that. All right. We're going to make sure that everything's taken care of. And again, this is brought to us in conjunction with Concerned Veterans for America. They're the ones who are really putting it on. So make sure that you check them out. They've been on our show before. Matt Kenny, one of the directors over there, is CV4, the number 4A. .org. Check out Concerned Veterans for America. You've probably seen their CEO on Fox News. He's always talking about especially veterans related things in the news. So make sure you check him out, or check out Concerned Veterans for America out. I mean, if you're interested in the April 11 event, check out our Facebook page, the Arms Room Facebook page, and also the Independence Training Facebook page. Tomorrow, we're going to be posting up the full information about it. However, you can also contact Matt Dobson, who works for CVA, is also one of Independence Training's instructors. But you can check him out. Give him a call, 480-341-1924. Give him a call so that you can get registered for the event. We're only taking 45 people. All right, we can only handle that many on the range and make sure everyone has a great time. So we're just doing 45 right now. We may do some more of these events later in the future. That's kind of be determined by how well this event turns out. But check it out on our Facebook page for more information. We're looking for OIF, OEF veterans, April 11th over at Cowtown Range in Peoria from 9 a.m. to 2 in the afternoon. Bring your own guns, shake off the rust, or we'll provide them to you. So make sure you contact Matt. You can also email him, mdobson@cv4, again, the number 4a.org. And that way you can get on the list. Now, what we are asking is if you do contact Matt and say, yes, I'm coming, that you actually show up, because we're going to limit this to 45. So if you say yes, and then you don't show up, you just blue falcon somebody else out of their opportunity to show up. So make sure that if you say, yes, I'm definitely going to be there, that you definitely do show up. And Matt will kind of tell you the same thing. So make sure that that you're checking that out. So we got all kinds of cool stuff for you guys to check out. All right, check out Cowtown Range. They're provided us this great new studio to use for our show. Check out Matt's Living Dangerously podcast, especially if you're looking for something that's awesome. crow59.podbean.com, and Crow is just CRO. And make sure you check out Concerned Veterans for America, because they're doing not just this event with us, but they're doing things all over the nation to help veterans get more active in actually making real changes. So check them out, cv4a.org. The 4 is the number 4. All right. So with all that out of the way, good stuff. Make sure you check it all out. A lot of it will be on our Facebook page. I want to talk about our weekend. We had a crazy weekend. We had 2 days of carbine training, but some really fun things happened during this carbine training. So we did 2 days of training out at Cowtown Ranges. And the first day we had a lot of fun. We were provided a couple magazines by a company called Hex Mag to see if we liked them and how well they worked. So what we did was we took these 2 magazines and we just started beating the heck out of them. I mean, not day number 1, we weren't necessarily intentionally trying to break them, but we were definitely trying to intentionally incur some type of failure. And so we were passing around. All the different students got to shoot them or shoot through them, I should say. Got to load their ammo and use them in the rifles. And we kind of had a standing rule of, if you're going to pass the mag off to somebody else, you've got to throw it to them. And usually the person would miss the throw, which was perfect because, the range was pretty rocky out where we were. And so we were just really beating up these mags. We stomped on them. We spiked them off of rocks. We dropped them from high places. We were really messing around with these mags, and we couldn't get them to fail. So at the end of the day, we'd fill them with sand. We'd put some rounds in them. We'd shot through that. Sand didn't make them fail. Awesome, right? Mags went perfect. If you follow Independence Training on Instagram, you'll see we posted up a picture of both the magazines sticking up out of the sand. So, they're good mags. So then yesterday, second day of carbine class, we decided, all right, it's time to see if we can actually make these things break. So we were using them normally in training, just kind of really beating them up. And lunchtime rolls around. And I'm like, man, we gotta find a way to break these things. So we had a student come over in his Ford Raptor, nice high torque capability, and we had him run over the mags a couple times. Okay, pretty basic test, nothing happened. So then we had him do a burnout on the magazines, and I got a pretty good video of it on my phone, and we'll be posting up later. He did a solid burnout on these mags, and all it did was really tear the grip tape off and scuff the heck out of them. But other than that, they were still functional magazines. So as far as I'm concerned, Hex Mag is great mag. They're a great mag. They've got some cool color coded or colored followers, I should say. Not really color coded, but you can use those to color code your ammunition. So you can put a color code or a different colored follower in there. So at the bottom there's a different color, at the top there's a different color, and now, if you've got different magazines loaded up with different ammo, like I do, I've got some for training or some for self-defense, or sometimes I want to use this stuff for this type of work and this stuff for this type of work. Now I can just look at the bottom of the mag real quick, and boom, there's my different color. Excuse me. And they're great product. Of course, they're made in America. They're made up in Colorado. Great company to do business with. I really like the owner. He's a really solid guy. Still kind of a small business, so check him out. If you haven't picked up a Hex Mag, you ought to check it out at the very least. It never hurts to have more AR-15 magazines. Certainly doesn't hurt to have ones that really we know are going to work, and give them a shot, right? See what they do. So that was a lot of fun. Also, after I saw that video with Dustin Ellerman, we posted up on our Arms Room Facebook page, former Top Shot competitor who cooked bacon on a suppressor. I told myself I had to do that. We have to do that. So at Defensive Carbine on Saturday, we cooked bacon on a suppressor, and it was fantastic.
Bacon tastes better with a little bit of freedom on the side of it.
Oh my goodness, man. I put 100 rounds on the suppressor, and now my suppressor kind of has some bacon caked on it. So now I'm calling it bacon flage. I'm trademarking that, and that's how I'm now going to paint.
So every time you shoot now, it smells like bacon?
It's phenomenal.
Excellent.
It's phenomenal. So right on. Well, as we're waiting here for Peter to give us a call, let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that, if you've been missing out on Independence Training's classes, you really ought to check out, some of the things that they've got going on, or I should say, have got going on. So we've got a lot of great classes coming up. If you're not in Arizona, you can certainly come out, give us a little visit out to the beautiful state of Arizona. It's a great time of the year to come out and visit us. We can also be hosted in your location. So if you're looking to host classes in your space, hosts get a train for free. So all they have to do is help us do a little bit of marketing and help fill the class, and they get a train at no cost. So if you're thinking about doing some training in your area and you can't find anybody that you know or trust, give us a contact, right? You can call us anytime, 520-831-3683, or you can always contact us by email, info at independencetraining.com. And for those of you local to Arizona, we've got our very popular IFAC Lifesaver class coming up in a month, April 26th, followed 2 weeks later by our invasive trauma interventions class, also in Mesa. And we've got, some defensive handgun classes coming up. We got precision rifle coming up soon. We've got all kinds of great things coming up. So make sure you check us out, independencetraining.com. Of course, we are a sponsor of the Arms Room Show. We don't really say a whole lot about that because, we mention Independence Training a lot, but technically we also sponsor the show, even though, we're kind of the same entity, in a way. We're all run by the same people. Our instructors are also our hosts. So, it's kind of the same group of guys, but, we are a sponsor of the show. So check out independencetraining.com and check us out on Facebook. We got a lot of great information on Facebook. We've got a lot of great information on our website. Tons of cool stuff to go check out. We post videos all the time. Check out the YouTube channel. There's tons of great information. We're a different kind of training organization than maybe some of the hard charging, super tactical, super ninja-like training that you've probably experienced in the past. So make sure you check out independencetraining.com and see what we got going on. Give us a contact if you have any questions about anything. All right, how are we looking over there, Mason? We got Peter call us?
Not yet.
Man, he called us before the show. And I'm like, hey, give us a call in a few minutes. now he's not calling in. So hopefully he'll call us soon. All right. Recent events, Mason. What's going on in the world today?
ISIS. Apparently, they're very bad.
Apparently.
Oh, here he is. Peter's calling.
And with that update,
good timing.
We'll go to Peter. So go ahead and let's hear it, man. Hey, Peter, you with us?
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, man. How you doing?
All right.
Good. So, we just kind of introduced you a little bit on the show before you called in, and a little bit about, you were on Top Shot, you're with Miss Clean Kits, but I didn't want to give away your big secret that you kind of surprised me with last week when we were on the phone, and that is you are the operator hotline guy.
Yes.
So we shared the TAC Talk or operator hotline video that's from Carnicon over on our Facebook page, and man, it got a lot of likes, which I don't know if that means that people really like the operator hotline, or if they really liked you if they really like seeing you wearing nothing but a plate carrier.
I don't know, maybe it was a combination of both. I thought after we filmed it and we were like editing it and stuff, I was like, man, we should make an actual hotline. I bet you people would call them for money, and people were like, you just know, because there's so many weird, crazy, dumb people out there sometimes.
Yeah.
Like people were like commenting, well, I called and it didn't do anything. And, I'm like, oh my goodness.
You missed out on a business opportunity. Yeah, I think you definitely missed out on a business opportunity there, man. So let's talk a little bit about the whole Miss Clean thing. Tell me how that got started. How did that happen initially? The version number 1.
Well, when I was deployed in Iraq in 2006, and again, so before in 2008, I would write letters back and forth to one of my friends, or a bunch of friends, but one of them in particular, who is now my business partner, is a history teacher, and we had been friends for a long time. And he was just curious as far as a historical event, how everything was going, and we would just write back and forth. And one of the things I mentioned is like, there was no place to put your cleaning kit. And then, with his spare time, he started thinking of different ways, and kind of came together and made that because, we weren't. So that's kind of how it started. But I didn't think we'd ever get to what it is right now, that we ever actually do anything.
Well, so so people know exactly what we're talking about. The Miss Clean Kit is misscleankits.com. So MS is in Miss or Mrs. misscleankits.com. They want to see, this great product. I thought it was really cool. Initially, I didn't know you were doing this. I'd seen you on, season 1 of Top Shot. We were talking on the phone last week because it, Top Shot popped up on Netflix. And I'm like, this seems like a fun thing to watch. I'd never really seen it. Saw the show. I was amused by all the shooting stuff. It was pretty cool. I mean, the competitions, some of them were pretty tough. That whole freaking arrow thing, man, that thing was nuts. So
yeah, that was kind of like shot in the dark there.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's an interesting competition. So I like it because I like mixing up my own type of shooting. So I really, from there, I kind of associated you with Top Shot. Well, then this video popped up, and another video we'd shared all over our social media, which was a video of you doing one of the most brilliant AK reassembly techniques ever, and that's putting the top cover back on, which is so often, depending especially on the manufacturer of the AK, a huge pain in the butt because once you get the spring locked in, then you got to try to slam this cover down, and you hit the cover too hard and it pops backwards, and now the stupid latches out of the front. You're just fighting the stupid top cover all the time. And so you've got a video out. I won't spoil it; people can go watch it. But you got this video out on the Miss Clean YouTube channel about how to really easily reassemble it, and it was a thing you'd learned from one of the Iraqis. So I thought that was really cool. And that's initially what kind of steered me over to the Miss Clean kits, which I read through the website. I saw the product. It made a lot of sense. And it was great. And then I saw your facts page, which I had to read. And your facts page. I
didn't think anybody would read those things.
Dude, your facts page is probably the greatest thing ever. And I want to talk about this for a second because so stupid people are stupid and they're fun to mess with, but your facts page takes it to a whole new level. I have to read this, right? So people need to go on misscleankits.com and read the facts page anyway, because it's funny, but I got to read this on air because it's so funny. Because when I saw the product, I thought to myself, some idiot is going to put this in a primary magazine location, right? And then you wrote this and it cracked me up. So it says, what happens if I'm in the dark and go to change my magazine and try to put my cleaning kit in my rifle and get myself killed? And then your response is, you won't. You're a professional soldier or law enforcement officer. You've undergone months, if not years of training, and you would never be so daft as to put your cleaning kit among your actual magazines. You would put it somewhere else on your gear that wasn't on the front of your vest. Even if you tried, your smarter leaders will stop you and hopefully punish your stupidity. If you're a civilian and plan on defending your home with an AR-style rifle, the chances you will need more than 30 rounds or be wearing your chest rig when you are awakened from your slumber by burglars is slim. Even still, if you do manage to find yourself frantically inserting a Miss Clean into your rifle, you may want to consider that we purposely engineered a level of natural selection into our product. That might be the single best line I've ever heard a company use to describe their product. We engineered a level of natural selection into our product. That's phenomenal. So you got to tell me, is there a story behind that? Or is that just you getting tired of internet ninja crap?
Well, it's kind of both. And it's, you see in one of the things that kind of is a personal thing that upset me in the military is you see trillions, of dollars of waste going to just all of this super expensive junk the military industrial complex produces, right? And it's mostly made by civilians, not to rag on civilians. I'm a civilian now, you know what I mean?
Right.
But they just don't understand the needs, the specialized needs that we have for some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Why do we still make B-2 bombers right now? I mean, it's not for this war. It's not like our enemy has radar.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're terrorists, or they're putting bombs on the side of the road. That billions of dollars of equipment is not helping me at all. But the rifle that I'm using every single day, and people are using right now as we talk, there are people defending our country with rifles,
mm-hmm.
and they're using the cleaning kits from Vietnam. You know what I mean? Which is ridiculous. And so that kind of, or they're using the Otis which doesn't really work that well.
Right.
And so the whole point of this is that there's a whole army of civilians out there on the internet, pretty much like typing madness away night and day, just craziness. And like as we launched it, it never even occurred to me really that would be an issue. But so many people brought it up, and like because you would just know, people think you just like, oh, you magically are in war or something like that. No, there's so much that has to happen before that.
Right.
And that, and this part of the problem is that the needs of the military are not fully understood, by the civilians and by the manufacturers making the products that we have to use. So then I became pretty passionate about it because, this is the reason we still have, the cleaning kits from Vietnam. This is the reason we have, the Otis kit, which has billions of little pieces in it, and they immediately get lost. And, you can't remove barrel obstruction and all of these things. People just don't think about it. Like, and you can't blame them because before I went in the military, I had no idea how things actually worked. You have a perception of how things are going to be. But anybody who's actually ever been in the military, you can tell them right away, like, what you thought it was going to be like and what it is different between night and day.
Yeah.
You have no idea what happens. And you should keep your opinions to yourself and maybe just trust the people that have been there so we know what we're talking about. So it's frustrating. So I just have a policy now where I don't argue with people on the internet. I'm a Marine sniper, the combat tours. I've always been a firearms enthusiast even before that. Even in the world of snipers, I'm, knowledgeable. And I'm just not going to debate somebody who doesn't have any experience or background. And so that's one of the things I became passionate about. So it's part of the problem there that nobody realized the needs of it. So I tried to illustrate that the best I could, but it's kind of difficult sometimes.
Well, I thought it was kind of funny you mentioned the Otis because I don't think I've ever seen a complete Otis kit. There's so many freaking little parts. I don't think I've ever met anyone who has an Otis kit and still has everything that came with it, unless they're, civilian and it's on their rack and they've never actually really used it or opened it or whatever. But the Otis kit is full of useless stuff.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad product. It's not a bad kit. It's just its intended design.
Yeah.
It was like a little girl whose father dropped her grandfather's hunting rifle in the mud and wanted to be able to clean it.
Right.
And if you have like, a lever action rifle or something like that, you can't put a rod, get like an AR is easy. It's a non-issue because you just pull the bolt out.
Right.
And you can throw rods down. It's actually faster than using a pull through.
Mm-hmm.
Once your rods are together, you just throw them down the barrel and repeat. You could go down the barrel 10 times by the time you even put your bore snake, or not bore snake, but your Otis together.
Right.
But, for hunters and stuff like that, if your rifle doesn't work or whatever, you just go home. You just go back to camp and you sort it out. So it's not a life or death issue there. And at the time, it was really the only cleaning kit that was of that quality. So it's not a bad product because its design wasn't never intended by the inventor to be used for military purposes.
The way that it is now.
So
the kit then went from kind of 1.0, so to speak, to the 2.0. What's the difference between the 1 and the 2, and why did you decide to make a new product?
Well, we launched we got the 1.0, which is about approximately the size of a single magazine, slightly larger so that it doesn't fit into the magazine well, even if you tried to shove it in there. And we realized that, everybody was asking for a double because in the first Kickstarter video, we had one 3D printed double and people wanted that. But the injection mold dies are pretty expensive. It's like the cost of a nice car.
Mm-hmm.
Not a super nice car, but, they're like between $25,000 and $30,000. So we just did the single, and most of the magazine pouches that you're issued or that you'll see are big enough to fit 2 magazines. It's like a double magazine pouch.
Mm-hmm.
So in essence, the Marines, at least when I was there, they were all issued the double magazine pouch, and you could have 3 of them, and so you could carry 6 mags. But there's always extra ones all over the place. If you wanted to carry 30 magazines, you can, they'll just give you extra pouches, and it could be 700 pounds or whatever.
Right.
But so you could always get these extra pouches. They were laying around everywhere. Plus, they're not very expensive online. So you wanted to utilize those double pouches as best possible, and you're limited with space with the single thickness one. We call that pretty much the idea behind the single kit is everything you would need to clean your rifle. So it's like you can't fit much more than the stuff you absolutely need to keep your rifle running.
Mm-hmm.
And with the double, we're going to call that pretty much everything you'd want to carry to clean your rifle. Obviously, you don't want to carry a solvent tank around, but the extra size will allow us to have more space to put a whole bunch of stuff in there. Like a bore snake, or including bore snakes. So you may not need the rods. You may just want to refresh your barrel a little bit, and you can throw the bore. That's a great little thing to use down there. So for example, like that. And then, during the first Kickstarter and subsequently afterwards, people gave us a bunch of different ideas. And so we're going to be doing, first aid kits for the single, which is kind of like a super kit because there's really not that much room in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then but for the double in a pouch, you can absolutely fit a good sized trauma kit in there with hemostatic agent and chest seals and decompression needle and bandages and tourniquets that will, when we have those levels on our Kickstarter we're running now. So we're just, with the larger size, we can do a lot more with it.
Well, I've seen you're on Instagram, and I've seen some great photos, both, excuse me, on your Facebook and on your Instagram about what people are using their even Gen 1s for. I mean, I've seen them used as doggy, for doggy water and food, right? For people's dogs. So it's like a cool little kit. You can carry your supplies around or whatever, but if you're a hiker, you always need some kind of bowl or some kind of dish for your dog if you take your dog with you. I saw that there was a picture of someone just slid it apart. The lid was like the water, the bottom was the food. Boom, problem solved. You can carry, how many Reese's peanut butter cups can you fit in one? Because that's important.
It was 2.5. Was the verdict on that.
2.5. So you can carry your Reese's peanut butter cups around, which is awesome. But like you said, you can put your first aid kit. What are some of the other things you've seen people use the Mist Clean for?
Some of the better ideas, obviously, there's survival and E&E, escape and evade kits. You can put a pretty good one of those in there, and then attach that to your pack or wherever. I've also seen, which was actually one of my favorite ones, was somebody used it to hold batteries. Because it's plastic, it doesn't conduct electricity, so they put a bunch of CR123s or 9 volts, but double A's in there. So if you have lights or GPSs or anything like that, it's a crush-proof container. They're not really waterproof, but if you had one out in the rain, water wouldn't get inside of it. But they're not submersible.
Right.
So
they're water resistant. Yeah,
it seals pretty tight, but so as long as you're not submerging it in water, it will stay fairly dry. So the battery thing, I'm like, well, that would have been awesome because you're always wanting extra batteries on you when you're on a patrol for your because you have flashlights or IR lasers or IR. I would have filled one of those had I had one when I deployed. I would have filled one of those up with whatever batteries I needed, and that would have been on my pack or on my back or something like that. The whole idea is that you could use the pouches already out there, and you could put them out of the way because obviously in the front you need your ammo and other things that are important like radios and things you need to access all immediately. So we were using a pop flare pouch. They have the pop flares that come. They're in these green cylindrical containers that have an O-ring on it, and they're fairly waterproof, and they're big enough to fit rods. But there's no pouches for those. There's pouches for the pop flares once you take it out of this container, but none for that container. So there was nowhere to put it if you weren't wearing a pack or something like that. So,
well, I want to talk a little bit. You mentioned the Kickstarter, so we got to talk about that a little bit. There's this great product. 1.0 is out there. It's for sale. Who sells you have like a primary dealer for the first Miss Clean, right?
Yeah, well, we have I have a bunch of people that carry it. There's the person who handles all our web sales. Like if you were to come to our website, is Saints Tactical.
Saints Tactical, right?
But F3 Tactical sells them, and Weapon Outfitter sells them, and they're popular. And Weapon Outfitters is on the West Coast, and then Frog Lube actually has a kit. They all theirs, which we just saw on AIM. I think it's AIM Surplus. So we saw that on AIM,
okay.
Where in essence we just packaged one for them with their lubricants and stuff in it.
Okay.
So if you're a Frog Lube fan, you can get one that says Frog Lube on it, and is in their olive drab color and has their lubricant in it. So
people can pick up the first gen there, and the second gen you've now got a new Kickstarter for. And for people unfamiliar with Kickstarter is basically a way to help small businesses get funding for a project. But they're not just asking for money. This isn't just like a please give us money thing. You pledge to support for a certain dollar amount, and for that dollar amount you're going to get something. Now I'm the kind of guy that puts my money where my mouth is. So I'm a backer of the Miss Clean 2.0, right? I'm willing to do that. I'm hoping that everything works out so I get that awesome Fight Soap Miss Clean hygiene kit. That's the one I'm going for. So excuse me. So you can check it out. There is a website link to the Kickstarter on your main homepage under the Kickstarter video, and there's a whole video that goes along with it where you explain what it is with a SWAT truck. You do all kinds of fun stuff with it to show that it's durable and that it works. You show some of the different ways to use it, and it's a great video. If you go on Kickstarter, you can probably search for it. It's the Miss Clean 2.0, the double is what the title is. So, people can go on there right now. I've got it pulled up right now. You're at $34,555 pledged. You need 60,000 to make the project work, right?
Correct. So
how does that work? So like, for example, myself, I've pledged for the beard cleaning one. What happens? What's the next step? Tell people, because people listening are hopefully going on and they're gonna get involved in this thing here within the next week. How does that work? So I've pledged $45. Is it immediately taken? Do I get my stuff regardless? Do we have to reach the goal? Kind of explain the process.
This is first of all, how Kickstarter works is some people think it's like a donation. It's really not. It's more of like a pre-order than anything else.
Okay.
But you have to get an X amount of pre-orders, whatever. We set the price on that. We set the $60,000 goal. We could have set any goal, but in order to get the guys, we needed this amount. So how it works is you go in there. There's a bunch of different reward levels, everywhere from like a $3 sticker to like a $1,500 for like 10 trauma kits.
Right. Yeah, I got that.
The dealer level trauma kits that are MSRP around $200. Trauma kits are not cheap. So you would play. And what happens is if we make our goal, that is when you're charged. If we do not make our goal, then nobody's charged. So it's risk-free. So if you just think it's a good idea and you would want to be a part of it, then you can pledge. And if we don't ever make our goal, then you never get charged and nothing happens. Once we make our goal, if we make our goal, the first thing that happens is Kickstarter takes 8%. So that's why the numbers are like that. People are like, well, you don't only need 30,000 for the dies. Why is it 60,000? And this happened to us last time. We accounted for 30,000 for dies. That's what we put, and that's only for the dies and their shipping, and there's actual cost of each product, and then there's all the other business related expenses, and there's income tax and their Kickstarter takes their cut. So if we make our $60,000, Kickstarter takes their 8%. We have to save X amount of money to pay income tax on the remainder, and then we have to purchase injection mold dies, which this time around we already have. Like before, we didn't know who was going to make them. We didn't know how much they were going to cost. We didn't really know anything. This time, at least around, we have all our suppliers, and we know how everything is going to cost, and we're just ready. The second we make it, boom, we put the balls in motion. Or before, we kind of had to figure out who's going to do it and everything. So they're actually made here in Louisiana. I'm in Baton Rouge, so the injection mold dies are ready to be made. We just have to get our funding for it. And then and kind of touched on it, some of the other suppliers are other small businesses within the firearms community. So we have a level for fight soap. There's a hygiene kit where he's going to have a bar of his fight soap and some more beard and some other things he's putting in there. And it's going to be color flashed on his logo is going to be color flashed on it by Leo Armory. So there's a bunch of people that we're working with. We have Breakthrough Clean, we have Fire Clean, and we have Frog Lube, and there's different levels for each one of those. And then we have a level with a multitasker tool in there, so you can add on to that. So we have a bunch of different reward levels there for people to choose from.
There's tons of stuff on here. Tons of stuff on here. So I like too that if you can get higher, I was just reading on here that the stretch goals are more colored cases. So if you reach 65,000, you're going to be able to get you're going to be able to make tan. If you reach 70,000, you're also going to be able to make OD green. If you reach 75,000, you're also going to be able to make some orange. Obviously, that's just going to be based on the capability to get those dyes or those molds or whatever it is that you need. So, but there's all kinds of different things that people can pledge on here, and there's tons of stuff. You got to go check out the Kickstarter because there's tons of pledge levels. There's tons of information about what you can get. I mean, I'm scrolling through it. It's taken me a while to just read everything. And when I was looking at trying to figure out what I wanted to do, it's kind of that, there's so much information on there. There's no reason to not go pledge. So many people talk about, hey, support the veterans or support our troops or whatever. Now is your opportunity to do it. A veteran-owned small business is not just asking for help. Oh, please help me. It's not that kind of crap. They're asking to help get started, and you're going to get something for your money. You're basically just pre-ordering the item, like you already said, Peter. I mean, you're just pre-ordering what you're kind of looking to do. So, I mean, what if you could say something to kind of everyone who's hearing this and everyone who's considering getting involved in the Kickstarter? I mean, what's your sales pitch? Why should people help you get going?
Well, mostly because the reason I'm doing it is to help. Well, obviously, it's such a pain, and I would never go through all this trouble if I couldn't make a product to help out, my brothers in arms, in essence. That's why I'm doing it. So, after Vietnam, it was, the troops came home, and they weren't very well received, to say the least. And as a whole, mostly as generalization, people didn't want to talk about the war and they just wanted to go out about their lives, and I think it's part of my responsibility to ensure that the gear with the next war that will be fought, because there's going to be another one.
There always is.
Another one. And actually, there'll be one still being fought. The same war is being fought.
Yeah.
It's my responsibility to provide the future combatants, with the gear that they need based off of my experiences, you know what I mean? And also to listen to them when they're out on the field to do that. And so, and you hear their feedback, you know what I mean? There's so many companies that I would email from Iraq and be like, listen, can you please, I want this. Can you please do this? Here's a free idea in essence. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm over here. This is the issue I'm having. Can you please make a product like this? You know what I mean? And that's already, some of these are major companies. They have CNC machines. They have the ability to do everything except for the drawing. They don't have they don't feel the responsibility like veteran-owned companies do for people deployed right now. And so that's kind of why I did it. That's why I was so passionate about it. And we had like we could have sold this company a million times. So many people came to us to buy us out, in essence. And, to me, it's not just about the bottom line. You know what I mean? If you worry about the bottom line, you're just going to end like coal. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter. You could be irrelevant. You could be a dinosaur.
Right.
And there's going to be a bunch of other firearms manufacturers coming up that can, that make a way better product for a cheaper price. And eventually, you just be insolvent. So like that's kind of why I did it. So we kind of took the Tom shoe model, and there's a level on there where if you buy a kit, then we will send a kit to somebody deployed overseas as soon as we have them. In fact, we did that with the last Kickstarter, and that was the first thing we did. So once we started getting product in and started being able to have them be shipped, the first thing we did is send them to people deployed overseas. And we intended to do that this time. So any of the levels actually this time could be used as donations, could be purchased as donations. So say you don't want to have an AR-15 cleaning kit, but you like this idea, you could go on there and purchase it, and as soon as and when we send out our surveys, when it's all over, and you can say, I don't want this kit, send it to somebody deployed. And that's we did that. We sent about 50 kits during the last Kickstarter over. Then I think there was about 34 donations. So we just sent like 50. So we sent actually a little bit more. But so that's kind of one of the things that we were able to do. We're just not in a financial position to be able to provide the military with better cleaning kits right now. So
in addition to being, a veteran-owned small business, you're also able to provide the equipment that we know these guys really need, based on real world experiences, to the guys who need it the most, when they need it the most, where they need it the most. So again, if people are kind of on the fence, like, oh, should I help out? Look, any amount is going to help. But if you want to buy the kit and you don't really want the kit, but you would really rather put your money where your mouth is and actually support the troops and actually, care packages are nice, but sending them the gear that they really need to survive and kill the enemy, which is really what we're there to do. Sending them that stuff is going to be way more helpful, than maybe some of the other things you think you might want to send them. And so this is a great way to really honestly support the troops. Buy one of these kits, and then when it comes time to actually receive it, say no, just send it overseas to somebody, and then you guys take care of all the rest, right?
Yeah, we there's one or two companies that we're working with that like kind of send things out to people, but we also, we know a ton of people that are already deployed between me and all my friends. Like there's some of my friends that are in the Marines are still deployed,
sure. And
some of the supporters actually have people that are deployed. So if you have somebody, a cousin, a nephew, a son, that's deployed right now, that happened a lot during the last Kickstarter. So people would call and say it's a great idea, and they would purchase it, but they didn't want, they would request it sent to whoever, and we did that as well. In fact, the one person said, the Kickstarter closed, and she was like, oh, hey, I want these for my nephew. I'm like, well, once the Kickstarter, on the April 11th, once it's done, it's done. It's like, there's no way you could purchase it after the 11th until we are in full production, which is going to be some time. These are going to be delivered in the summer,
right?
As soon as we possibly can get them. And the sooner we make our goal, and the further we go over our goal, the faster we'll be able to get these into production, right? So we can like pay extra for things to be shipped and things like that. But if we just barely make our goal, then it's going to take a little bit more time. So, but like after the Kickstarter closed, she was like, hey, but she wanted it sent to her nephew, but we actually had some we were sending out. And so I just said, what is his ATO address? And we sent it to his unit, not just to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were happy with them.
So you got till April 11th, just 18 more days, according to the Kickstarter, to get to the goal.
Yeah.
So that this thing's going to work. And we're, a little bit more than halfway there, but now it's really crunch time, and it's going to happen. I mean, I think that's an important thing for people to understand is this is going to happen. Like you're going to get to that pledge goal So don't wait to see like, oh, are they going to get closer? Is it going to happen? I don't want to, because no money or anything like that is going to change hands unless the goal's reached. So you might as well pledge what you're willing to do and get on board with actually supporting, again, a veteran small business, but also being able to really kind of put your money where your mouth is. And if you don't have a use for this product, then go on and buy a product or pledge for the product, and then just have it sent somewhere else. I mean, if you really want to do it, I mean, what's the max level there? 1,500 for 10 of them, 10 trauma kits. So I mean, if that's a great way to send better trauma kits to our guys overseas. There's one for just the regular cleaning kits, $450, I think it is, 10 of those. So there's a great way to really help out if you really want to help out. I mean, you could just put a freaking yellow ribbon sticker or whatever on the back of your car. That's useless. But if you'd like to really help out, this is really going to help somebody out, So I think that's this is a great opportunity for people to get involved in a way that I think a lot of people do want to get involved. They're just not quite sure how. This is it. It's the Miss Clean Kickstarter. It's a great way to get started. So what else do you guys have going on? I mean, is there any other things in the works or anything else like that you want to do? If this works out, are you guys looking to do something else? Kind of what's the future?
Well, kind of as our new, kind of like our goal here is to get these in the GSA catalog and NSN numbers, and hopefully starting to get some issues and things like that. Once the military market that's our main purpose there. But we're also looking at like getting into the bigger distributors and getting into like Bass Pro, Cabela's, and those pretty much anywhere where there's Otis hanging, we want to be hanging next to it to give people that option at least. So that's something else we're doing. So we're increasing our packaging, and we have a bunch of other things. We're making some tools with B5 systems, and my buddy Nathan Murr, he made the grip stop. He deployed with me, and him and I are putting some tools together. We're in essence inventing some tools to help streamline the cleaning of the kit or cleaning of the rifle, and like the size of the kit. As far as right now you need X amount of tools to be able to clean it, and if we invent some other ones, we can kind of cut that down a little bit. And so we're just doing some of them. There's some similar products out there, but some of them are kind of overly complicated, or they're overly complicated to produce. So we're trying to make it as efficient as possible. And so it's kind of some other things that we have in the works there. But we're eventually going to start selling in retail the medical kits and the trauma kits, and then maybe after that we're going to do some survival and E&E kits, because the survival world is big, and so and all of these things is going to be used by the military. So in essence, you can have almost a whole another couple pouches of just on the outside of your gear of just survival kits and of an E&E kit and an extra medical kit and a cleaning kit. So it could be a whole system, and we have that's why we have the different colors and stuff to differentiate between them and things like that. So that's kind of where we're going. If we make this Kickstarter, that will really be the litmus test, if you will, to see whether it's worth it to continue doing all this. So if we can't raise the money for this, even selling products and stuff, then we have to question whether how much it's needed right now.
Right.
So.
Which is kind of, it's kind of frustrating, I think, and I know you feel the same frustration that we do, and that's just like, this is a product that's great. It's functional. I like hard cases for my equipment. I'm still like using Pelicans and Storms and things like that. I like hard cases for my gear. I like to know it's going to be protected. And, I like crush-proof things. It can bounce around. It can get beat up. I'm not a big soft pouch guy. I like anything I can get in a hard case. I like, because I know that it's going to be able to take some abuse, and abusing equipment is something that I'm definitely doing on a pretty regular basis. So, if I can I like the idea of having an E&E kit or a survival kit, having a cleaning kit, having your trauma kit. Here's all three of your kits, all in standard issued pouches. And I mean, even again, as a civilian now, it's easy to walk into any surplus store or go online or go on eBay or whatever and find just a host of available double mag pouches for nothing. And, pick up a couple of them for a few bucks, get some of these misclean kits, put them in there. Everything's organized, color coded. Even if you got them all in one color, I mean, hell, you can put your own sticker or write on them or spray paint them different colors, whatever it is you need to do to differentiate your gear. But now everything's in a hard, crush-proof case. I think more importantly than just what I would like to have is what our guys still deployed and still serving are going to need, which is equipment that's not going to fail them. And the last thing you want to do is open up your kit. It's unorganized, or it's been crushed, or it's been broken, or something in there. You find yourself in some interesting situations. Sometimes you get smashed into different positions or whatever, trying to make it home, and you find out some soft pouch you had, something vital inside broke because it was just in a soft pouch. So I really like the idea. I mean, I think this is a really great thing that needs to happen, and I'd like to see you guys have a future. So hopefully everybody out there who's listening to our show and also following Miss Clean and on other things. I know you guys are on social media, your Facebook and your Instagram and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully everybody there is really understanding the importance of this. This isn't just another product that is potentially going to be put out on the market in a world of flooded gun parts and so many products out there. This is something that's actually useful, been designed and thought through and developed by people who've really been there and really done it and really know what's needed. This is a real piece of kit that people are gonna need, and I think that's hopefully something that people are really taking away from everything that you're putting out there. So at the very least, they need to go check out the website, look at the Kickstarter video, kind of hear you talk about it, see you talk about it, and go read the facts section, certainly, because anybody with that good of a sense of humor has got to be making a good product, man.
Well, the video actually was made by Dugan from ConnerCon, Dugan and Ashley from ConnerCon. We did that around the same time we did the Tac Talk video. Right. And there's a little bit of funny stuff in there just to make it shareable.
There is,
so it's not like as funny as Tac Talk, I don't think.
Right.
That's a hard act to follow.
Yeah, it is.
But we have some other things in the pipe too, him and I, that we're going to do. I'm going to be pretty much while the Kickstarter's ending, I'm going to be up him filming some stuff, and it's going to be pretty epic. So,
all right,
we work well together. So,
well, I look forward to seeing that for sure. And for anyone who hasn't seen you on Top Shot, they should check it out because it's on Netflix now. So there's really no reason to not check it out. It was an interesting show, man. I got to ask you as we kind of wrap things up here for the show today. I got to ask you, no joke, right? All BS aside, what was that? I mean, what was that like? Did you have a good time? You made it pretty dang far, man. I mean, you were right there to the end pretty much. And what was that like? How did that impact you? I have to tell you before you answer, when I watched the show, I never watched anything back at the house, dude. I can't get into that drama crap. So I was I watched all the shooting stuff, and then anytime you guys went back to the house, I was like, yeah, whatever. Just fast forward through that stuff.
Well, first of all, because you said that, the most important part of that whole entire show was the stuff back at the house. And here's why. Like, 35% of those viewers of that. See, here's the thing: the show, had never been a show like that on like a major cable network before.
Yeah, it was a breakthrough.
Where it showed guns, and it was like the only thing they kind of had before that was like history of the gun or tales of the gun, and just talked about the gun. And your wife would never sit there, or sister or daughter even would sit there and watch that.
Right.
Nobody. So. With that drama, quote, that's there, that allows a wider audience. You may not necessarily like that drama, but what that drama is actually doing is it's introducing having more people that aren't necessarily gun, enthusiasts, firearms enthusiasts. They're introducing them to a TV show that they'll sit there and watch that portrays firearms in a good light.
Right.
Even tales of the guns. You remember this was in the 90s, or like when everything it was huge anti-gun. It was just the way it was, right? They would, the very beginning of Tales of the Gun would come on and say, firearms used by villain and hero, like, and carries with a great moral responsibility and blah, 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 blah. No, you don't need to say that. It's like, this is our right. This is the difference between free men and people who are not free. And this is why we have it. Like, you don't even need to say that. Like, it's just a given. I mean, it's like, we go out and we can say whatever we want because we have the First Amendment. We go out and we have firearms because we have the Second Amendment. It doesn't need to be said. And so, like, they didn't say any of that in Top Shot. They just were like, I mean, they had it with the lawyers and they're like, don't shoot your eye out type stuff.
Right.
You know, that, but they didn't, like, there was no political anything. And they were, even on the first season, were shooting, like, quote, unquote, sniper rifles, shot AR-15s, you know. So there had never been a show like that before. So, and because of that, I had no idea that anybody would even watch it. Like, we had no idea it would be as popular, or at least I didn't, you know, because there had been nothing like that previously. So I just assumed nobody would watch it, or be on, like, at 11 o'clock at night on Sundays or something like that, where, or on, like, some History 2 or something like that, where it would be kept away from everybody else. And so, you know, on the show, on the first season especially, it was just like, whatever, you know, I didn't think anybody's going to watch it. So, but because of that drama, because some of that stuff that, you know, obviously, look at all the reality shows that are out there right now. There's a formula that people want to watch that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I personally don't like to watch that stuff, but it's popular out there. And anything that's portraying firearms in a good light and that's appealing to the masses, you know, I'm down for it. So that's why I think, you know, a lot of the, you know, what I call them grumpy old men shooters,
right?
Like people who, like the NRA, who called me in the morning, by the way. NRA called me twice. Once they called me like a dozen times, but they called me at 5:51 a.m. in the morning.
What? For what?
5:51 in the morning.
For what?
And like, I had no idea who it was. I'm like, what's going on? I just hear a lady on the other end being like, this is really important. I'm like, I'm listening intently because I'm like, it must be really important because it's like 5:51 in the morning. And then she starts talking about, like, Obama and, like, how he's speaking about, what? I'm like, and then, you know, I'm like, this is the NRA? I'm like, this is ridiculous. Right. So I don't know how we got on to this, but yeah. And then I just, like, hung up, and they called back at least a dozen times. Obviously, I don't answer. So no one was like 6-something in the morning. Jeez. I didn't answer that time. But so, like, you know, other than people who like to be called in the morning by grumpy old dudes, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it was great because, you know, the firearms community, I've seen it since, you know, when I turned 18, I was in 1998, which probably, you know, still young for depending on who you're comparing yourself to. Right. But, like, you would go to a gun store and there wasn't, like, only shooters were really going in there as a whole. There wasn't a whole lot of the people going in there purchasing firearms for the first time. There wasn't a bunch of females. There wasn't, like, you know, couples didn't go in there. Where, like, now you go into a gun store or something like that, and it's like, it's just like a cross section of America. Right. You know what I mean? And so I'm not saying that Top Shot, you know, calls that, but it was part of that whole, you know, it's a section of that mainstreaming firearms, and I think that's exactly what needs to be happening. Like, instead of it being the image of, you know, the old, you know, white dude with a beard, you know, who the first thing he talks to you about is how much he hates Obama or whatever. Right. Like, why alienate those people? Just because they voted for Obama, then, like, no, like, it's whatever. All the presidents are horrible. Doesn't matter. So just, like, you know, embrace everybody. And that's kind of what that did. Like, there was no political stuff. It was just like, here's all the fun stuff you can do with firearms. Like, you shoot balloons filled with, you know, acetylene with handle on, and they would blow up. You know what I mean? Or run around with different colors in our shirts, and we'll fight each other. Right. You know, that was kind of neat about it. So.
Well, you know, you make a good point. It's definitely something I hadn't thought about before. You know, I mean, it did help get people more interested in the show. Probably people who weren't necessarily that interested in shooting or whatever, guns or whatever before. That show, because of that extra element, the team element, and the drama stuff, and all the work back at the house, and the men and the women, and all the different people that were there.
that definitely probably, you know, brought a lot of people into the sports. That's great, man. I'm glad you said that, because that really kind of made me think about it a different way. So, well, thanks, man. Thanks for coming on the show, Peter. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
So the website again is MsCleanKits.com, right?
Yeah, www.ms, like Miss, CleanKits.com. If you just Google MS Clean, it'll come up, and you should be able to, or if you type in MS Clean Kickstarter, it'll come up too. It's pretty easy to find. And the same thing with our Facebook page. It's MS Clean LLC, and our Instagram is at MS Clean Kits. You know, that's what it is, just not that.
Yeah. Well, also, you know, the Kickstarter information, the video, and all the info, and the pledge amounts, and all that, how people can get involved is on the website, right at the bottom. Right at the bottom of the page. Page is not big, so right at the bottom under the video, there's a link to it. People can go right to it. They can get involved. Really, people need to get involved. That's hands down. You know, if you're a shooter, you really support the troops, you really want to get involved somehow, you're just not sure how, this is the way to do it. So again, Peter, thanks, man, so much for coming on the show, and we'll be in touch soon, and I appreciate it, man. You have yourself a good day.
Awesome. You too. Thank you very much.
All right, so Peter Palma from Top Shot and Ms. Clean Kits and the Tac Talk Operator Hotline with Carnicon. Go get involved. Get involved with his Kickstarter. Pledge something. There's everything from $3 up to $1,500 or any amount in, you know, within that. Go get involved. You're going to get a cool product. You're not donating money. You're getting something for everything that you pledge. You're getting it at normal price that you would normally pay. And if you're a dealer and you want to get, you know, you want to have these kits in your store, they've got the dealer options there that you can help this Kickstarter get started with. So go get involved. Right? Everyone wants to support the troops. Everyone wants to get involved. Boom. Here's the way to do it. Do it. And Peter is a great guy, and he's a veteran. He's a combat veteran. He's a phenomenal individual. Get involved. All right. Next week, we're going to be talking about shopping local. And because we're in Arizona and we love dealing with Arizona companies, we have compiled a massive list of Arizona firearms industry companies. The list is much larger than I had initially planned it to be. It is a very long list of all the different firearms industry related companies, manufacturers of actual firearms, parts for firearms, different types of accessories, things like that. We've got a huge list of all these people. We're going to be giving that whole list next week of all the people that you should do business with. Some of these, by the way, we're also going to be talking about discounts you can get from them by being associated with Independence Training and the Arms Room. So there's some really some cool discounts that you're going to be able to get as well. So make sure you tune in next week. We're going to be talking about local, why you need to buy local. You know, if you want to support our Arizona companies, that's great. But also why you should buy locally to you. And you know, there's a lot of great reasons for that. So we're going to be talking about that next week. Remember our event on April 11th, the Veterans Appreciation Day that Concerned Veterans for America is putting on in conjunction working with Independence Training. Make sure you contact us about that so that we can get that on, get you online. And we also want to say that today's show brought to you commercial free by our sponsors and our great friends over at AR500armor.com. And of course, we're coming to you today from the new Cowtown studio. Look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, stay aware, stay safe, and train hard.